Welcome back to the Foundation in C# course. We're currently in Module 2, and this lesson we're going to learn about one last set type, which is the dictionary. Now, a dictionary is a more specific set type, but I want to show you because I think it's important you at least see it. So let's go over to our Visual Studio and do a new project. And this is a console app, so console UI. Module 02, lesson 09. Let me start off by adding our console read line at the end. And now we can get to work. So let's see what a dictionary looks like first. So let's just type dictionary. Notice it has the angle brackets like the list of T did. And I hit the opening angle bracket, which is the left-hand side, and it says T key, T value. So it's asking for two different types. One is the key, one is the value. And this is what a dictionary is. So a dictionary, think of it just like the actual paper dictionary, if you still have one of those or know what one of those is you look up a value and then by its key. So if I want to look up the definition of the word console, I would look up and flip through till I found console, and then it would have a value for that console. And it would describe what it is. Well, that's the same way that the dictionary works in C#. But you have to give it two types. And they can be the same if you want. But the first type is for the key. That's where I'll look up based upon. So let's, in this case, give it a int value. It's really nice to look up by integers or by numbers in general because of the fact that they're very precise. So for example, if I looked up by string and I typed TIM, well, is it lowercase TIM? Is it uppercase? You have to be specific. In this case, I want to use an integer because it's just so easy to use. And then I'll type string for my value. I'm going to say that important years equals new, and again I tabbed, so dictionary of int string, just like the list, open and close parens, and that sets it up. So now I have this dictionary, but what can I use it for? Well, in this case, I'm going to store a year, or actually multiple years, and then what was the most significant thing that happened in that year. So let's start off with important years. And I'm going to say important years, and then use my square brackets. And I will say the key, notice it's highlighted, it says int key. But there we have our dictionary set up. Now, order doesn't matter. I could move this, move this one up there. So it's now a different order, not a problem. This is not like the array where we're actually declaring that it has 1978 spots. That's not what we're doing. We're saying that's the key. So they don't have to be, in sequence. They don't have to be put in sequence. They don't have to all be, close together. They can be far apart if you want. But now I can say $ syntax. I can say Tim, or let's say in the year 1978, this happened. And then say our curly braces, important years, 1978. Okay. And if we run this, in the year 1978, this happened. Tim was born, or Tim is born. So that's how we look it up. We give it the key, and it finds that key and spits out the value. Now, what if I had said 1977? I'm sure you can guess, but let's just try it. Yep. The given key was not present in the dictionary. It's a little different message than our array gave us, which was that the index was out of bounds, because this 1977 is not an index. It's a key. The difference is that keys can be anything you want them to be, as long as they conform to the type we specified. And that it's not a bounds issue. It's about whether it's there or it's not. So we make sure that it says 1978 and that that's actually present in our list. Now, if I want to change this to 1969, no problem. I'll leave that alone. You run this, man walks on the moon. So it is accessing it by the key. So that's how a dictionary works. If the key is there, it's going to find the value, which does mean that I cannot do this. Copy, paste. Okay? If I try and put a different value, let's just say testing 1, 2, 3. Do you see what that's going to do? Let's just go back and put 69 again just to see. Let's run. Make sure they always go together. So it's a really great lookup list. For example, you could use this for definitions. So word definition, you could put the word in here and make sure it's a string up there. You could put the word in here and then put the definition afterwards, or multiple definitions, but all in the same string. And there you go. That'd be a true dictionary. In this case, we're using it for years, and we're putting a value in it for what the most significant event is for the year. That's all there is to dictionary. So it's kind of like list, but it's a little bit different. But you just kind of remember, and let's go to our pro tip to kind of reinforce this. A dictionary cannot have two keys. They're the same. You only have one key. Therefore, if you try to put a different value in the same key, it just overwrites the initial value. So you only have that one key. You won't have two of them in the same dictionary. They'll be unique. All right, homework time. Pretty simple stuff. Create a dictionary list of employee IDs and the name that goes along with that ID. Okay, so ID would be the key. The employee name would be the value. Fill it up with a few records, kind of like I did, just manually, and then ask the user for their ID and return their name. Now, obviously, if they don't have an ID, you might want to check for that. Maybe say, you know what, if that doesn't exist, then then say it doesn't exist. But probably since you're not really sure yet how to do exception catching, it's a little harder to do that. So let's just say for now, assume they give a valid ID. So just say, you know what? Only have 3 IDs. You have to give one of these 3. And if you don't, then, don't worry about it. So just make sure they give a real ID. So just to kind of get your feet wet in using dictionary, just to kind of get you started, you don't have to go very deep in depth with dictionary because you won't be using a ton in C#, but you should at least have it in your toolbox, know it's there, know how it works, and have used it once or twice. Okay, so that's what this homework is for. Once you've done the homework, move on to the next lesson.